Good afternoon, everyone. This is Kim Schmidt, Executive Editor of Farm Equipment Magazine. Welcome to our latest webinar in conjunction with the Western Equipment Dealers Association and SiteDocs Safety. Today's presenter is Lance McMaster, Director of Safety and Integration at SafeDocs Safety. He's dedicated to providing digital solutions for effective, efficient safety management systems and shifting companies' focus from battling with paperwork to superior information sharing. Before we get started with the presentation, just a couple of housekeeping items. On your screen, there's a control panel with a Q&A icon. You can submit questions here at any time during the presentation, and then we'll try to answer as many of those questions as possible following Lance's presentation. And then just a reminder, we're recording today's webinar in the event you want to come back and rewatch it or have anyone else on your staff view the video as well. All right, we are ready to get started. Thanks again for joining us, and you can take it away, Lance.
Thank you very much, Kim. Hello, everybody. I know it's virtual, but nice to meet everybody virtually. Hope everybody can see my screen. If you cannot see my screen, please throw it in the chat and let us know. But you should see SiteDocs, and you should see my cursor circling around SiteDocs. So I don't see anybody jumping on the chat saying they can't see it, so I'm going to jump in. Now, Kim was kind enough to let me know a little bit about the organization, what's going on. So what I'm going to be doing is, yes, as the Director of Safety here for the last 8 years, I work with literally thousands of new people and companies across North America, every kind of industry you can imagine. And when you're looking at what I'm about to show you, this is a safety management system, or an SMS, for people's safety programs. It doesn't matter which industry you're in. If you're doing or required to do or starting or looking to achieve any documentation processes, what we do is we take that, we eliminate the paper, and we make it all electronic, and we put it onto mobile devices. What you're looking at right here is I have an iPad. I'm not a very tech savvy guy. SiteDocs is easy to use, but I'll be the first to admit, and that's our slogan: easier, faster, better. It's extremely intuitive. But what I'm showing you is the app, the mobile app. So people could be around mobility, right? It's on iOS or Android, so Apple or Android devices, smartphones, tablets, whatever you have. It works great on all that. And we also have what's called offline mode, which means even if people that are required to fill this out, or your reports or your inspections or incidents or what have you, they still have access to all of your forms. It comes preloaded, but everything's customizable. So, and I'll walk through all that. But the mobile devices has offline mode because the law states you need to have this information readily available without the need of the internet. So I can still fill out my forms or review resources or track training records and things right within here, even if I'm not connected to the internet or Wi-Fi. Then as soon as I complete a form and sign off, it'll be timestamped, dated, GPSed, and come over to this over here, which is called the admin panel. So this is the brains of the ship. This is the helm. And I know we're talking about health, safety, and environmental, but our members use SiteDocs for much more than that, just so everybody's aware. It's a no-brainer for the health, safety, environmental, but they also create forms for quality assurance, quality control, performance reviews, daily logs, progress throughout the day, anything that you want to create as a form, and I'm going to show you that. So the one side of filling it out is the app on mobile devices. And then the other one over here, it's a web app. Now the difference is the web app is accessible through any computer because it's an email and a password with the app. But with the computer, obviously it's a web app. You need access to the internet for the web app to work. So as Kim said, if there's any questions, just throw it in the chat, or if anybody wants to share anything. I've worked even before SiteDocs, program development, agriculture, farming, dealerships, you name it. So I want to make sure that I'm going directly to what you're looking for. But this is just a high level overview, and then we can always chat later as well if there's no questions. But one thing I want to bring over, and we were talking about it earlier, is I just want to bring over something from OSHA. I'd mentioned, and Kim agreed, like, this isn't about fear mongering, it's about educating. But I do want to show you the reality. If you know, you should know what OSHA is, but these are some of the costs that an employer goes through when an incident happens. So I just wanted to show you this. I can send a copy if you want to everybody. But I want to show you the actual, as you can see, the direct costs, the indirect costs, total costs, additional sales, indirect. And it just narrows it down to go like, wow, I didn't know a sprained wrist. As it says up here, the employer always pays the indirect cost. So a sprained wrist can cost up to $33,000, right? Again, not fear mongering, just educating. Because I want to show you going from a paper-based system to a like SiteDocs, like a electronic paperless system. You get the opportunity as a leading indicator, so you can focus on not collecting and printing and filing and counting, and you get right to the information that you want to make changes on the spot, right? And then you can be proactive rather than reactive. A lot of people on paper-based systems, because it's such a lagging indicator, will say things like, well, we got to look at all our incidents last year and calculate that and do our 300A and 300 logs for OSHA, all that kind of stuff. Where in SiteDocs, they can get that visibility beforehand with the pre-inspections, the pre-trips, the inspection, whatever you're doing, and use that information as a preventative measure, right? So I'll just close this. Like I said, I just wanted to show you because a lot of people aren't aware, like those are some big costs to employers, right? And sometimes people aren't aware of it. And then I'm going to start walking through SiteDocs here. So everything is customizable. A lot of people will go to our website and they go, oh, this is for construction. No, it started with construction. Now we're in manufacturing and dealerships and automotive and agriculture and farming and you name it. Like I said, anybody that wants to streamline and, well, save time, energy, and money, put it towards real health and safety aspects. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through this app for a second here. I'm just going to close the app and show you. I always want to show how easy it is to use because that's key. I hear it all the time across everybody I talk to. If it's not easy to use, they're not going to use it. So what information are we going to get anyway? So here's the app right here. So if I tap on the app through my email and password, which I'll show you from the admin panel, I can fill out any of our forms, right? I can review any of our resources. From the admin panel, the workers can't change, just for clarity, the workers can't change the forms. They can fill them out, but they could ask the admin panel to change forms. And actually, I'll just open up a form. So I'm going to go to setup. And of course, you get training on this. I'm going to go to the form builder. So if I want to create any form at all, I just hit new form. I get asked quite a bit, can we just drop in a PDF, it'll recreate our form? The answer is no, but there's a good reason for that. You want to be able to make adjustments and changes on the fly. Just like a business plan, health and safety is a living document. Legislation changes. Well, how it typically works is somebody gets hurt and insurance changes. So then that changes legislation, that changes building codes, that changes everything down the line. So you want to be able to adapt and adjust on the fly. So just dropping in a PDF as a form isn't going to help you. You can't extrapolate data and information, generate reports. But if I went in here just to show you, I could do whatever I want. I could even do like Kim's form. So what I'm trying to get across is imagine any forms that you have now or that you want to create and customize, just put them in and create them. Now, a standard form are forms that once people complete them in the field, like if I complete a standard form on the app over here, after I sign it and it's automatically timestamped, dated, and filed and organized, I'm still going to be able to open that up. Say somebody, DOT or somebody says, hey, you have a load that you're delivering equipment and we want to see that you did your pre-trip. Well, people can just go in there and they can go to, I'll get through this other stuff, but previously signed. So then I can open it up and I can say, which one do you want to see? Well, I want to see the one from today. Okay, I'm going to open it up. And as you can see, no binders or anything. I just open it up. There's different, you can do asset management through drop-down lists. I'll go through all that. But you have the ability to show them right on the spot. A lot of our members in transportation, they will do pictures of their loads and tying them down and stuff like that. Again, you please use your imagination for what you would be using it for, and you can talk into it. But the idea is I can show whoever I want, I've already did this. Even if I'm not connected to the internet, it timestamps, dated, GPS from when I signed off. So that accountability turns into confidence. If you are connected, you could even, here, I'll email you a copy right from here. You can send it right from the app itself. But that's a standard form that I filled out because I still have access to it. And you can set how long it stays on the mobile device for data storage and stuff. Now, the other one is a private form. Our members ask for this. Like many of the features I'm showing you is because our members that have been using SiteDocs since 2012 keep giving us great ideas, like from all across North America. So we get that benefit of going, hey, someone in California gave us this idea, and then Tennessee, we share all over the place. It's really awesome. It's a great positive community. But they wanted a private form option. And a private form option means these are the forms that you would create like a disciplinary action or a performance review or an incident, let's say. And what I mean by that, I'll use the disciplinary action. Let's just say Lance is getting a disciplinary action from his supervisor and he's on step 3. Lance is on step 3, one more, he's getting fired. Well, they didn't want any workers seeing that on the app, obviously. They wanted only people at the admin panel level, senior level, to be able to deal with those types of situations. I hope I explained that okay. So let's go into one. So I think the one that I will do, it comes preloaded. Here, I'll just open it up and show you. It comes preloaded with a bunch of forms because some companies have nothing. And we're actually talking with some people about setting up some packages specific for different industries, which we've already done, but that's another conversation. So in the basic form template package, hopefully everybody can see this and I can send that out, Kim, if you want. Anything that you want me to send out, I can send out later. But it comes preloaded with this, and then 50 toolbox talks, which are PDFs. But all of these forms, I really want to stress that I would take them because you can hide them, you can trash them, you can adjust them, whatever you want to do. But if you don't have them, you don't have them. So I always say take them, and then if you use them or not is up to you, because I'll show you. This pre-trip inspection, let's just say I'm starting the day, I'm doing a pre-trip inspection. Ease of use. I'm the worker in the field completing this stuff. Prompts, is this new? Is this a new form? Is it in progress? Say throughout the day when you're doing pre-trip, post-trip. We have a lot of people in heavy civil as well where they'll tap on GPS throughout the form showing they left the yard, they got to the delivery site or the weigh station, or with you, it might be to the client or the customer. Duplicate feature, you can turn this on and off or in every form, which I'm going to show you, but our members wanted this for the redundancy factor. And you know what? Pre-use is one of those things that some of our members will allow duplicates for. Again, stressing the point, it's up to the admin panel and the company whether you allow duplicates, because some companies, well, I don't want duplicates. They're just going to do that every day. Well, then don't allow it. But for this example, if I tap on duplicate, I could grab the last one that I did. Let's just say this was yesterday, like this was earlier today, right? But I go through here and I would just log everything in the odometer and things like that. This would be your form. And I'm going to show you how you create and customize current location, GPS, and this would be all of the items that you have within your form to meet legislative requirements, right? The law states you have to cover these things, and depending on severity and probability, like how badly someone can get hurt, what are the chances, and then sometimes frequently, how often do we do these things? But I do want to show you in here, let's just say today I open this up and this has changed. So instead of just scrolling to the bottom of the form and signing off, everything else is okay. So I don't have to redo all of that, but I do want to notify somebody, oh, something is with the lug nuts. I'm an old school guy, I'll be the first to admit it. So anytime I put any information into SiteDocs, if I tap on a text box, I don't type like a text, right? I'm an old school guy. I just like hitting the microphone. So I'll give you a quick example. The lug nuts on the right side of the trailer seem loose and should be brought into the shop. So I can just talk right into it. So again, hopefully everybody's imagining paper, filling this all out, printing it, binders, all that, to what I'm showing you. And then I can take a picture. So a picture does say 1,000 words. And I think I mentioned it, but I do so many presentations every day. Are people doing deliveries or transportation, they're on the road with DOT and stuff, they'll take pictures of tying down the loads and different things, or hooking up the trailer and crossing the chains and stuff like that. But I can go around taking a whole bunch of pictures and then fill out my report, or I can take a picture per line item like I'm doing now. So here, I'm going to take a picture of my trailer. Oh, my trailer's gone. Someone stole my trailer. Oh, it's across the street. I forgot I parked it on the street to do some yard work, but you get the idea. So I won't walk out there and do it. So I'm going to use that photo and I'm going to use it. It's going to be right within that form. Where in the past, people would take photos, send it in an email and all that, but that's even more time trying to find things and take care of things. The other thing our members really like, it was their idea, is this drawing tool. So I can actually draw, oh, here it is right here, right? Well, it should be parked here, but I'm going to save that drawing. You get the idea. And I don't want to go too far in this first demo, but I can also notify people. I can send different notifications throughout the organization and say, oh, it's a maintenance request. Like I created all these. You can create whatever you want. These are just ideas and concepts, but you use your own imagination. So let's just say it's a maintenance request because I want that those lugs fixed. I need to have the lug nuts tightened and or fixed. Now I can assign this to people on my team. Again, this is a closed loop system. It's not emails, texts. I didn't get that message. This is within SiteDocs, so everyone gets it. So let's just say I got to send it to the department manager, site supervisor. I could set a date range, June 18th. And what they're going to get is a notification on their devices or their app that's going to say, how on the home screen you get, oh, they've got a text or an email, but now it's SiteDocs. And when they open it up, this notification, they're going to see whatever was sent to them. And they can open up the entire form. So this way, once it's completed and signed for due diligence, you have that for your maintenance records and confidence. But the other side is if it isn't completed, you can track all of the pending items at the admin panel level. So anything that's been sent to anybody, that's been completed or not completed. It's a huge advantage. But I'll digress from there. I want to stick to, let's just stick to some simplicity here. So I'm going to go and I'm going to start a new form this time. And I want to show you how I created this form, because that's the other side of, well, how hard is it to create a form? Well, at the top, this would be your company or organization's name. These are virtual filing cabinets. I won't get into that too much, but it's just a way to file all of your documentation. The term location, I don't want that to throw you off. These are virtual filing cabinets. So when I explain it to people, like in the past, you had a filing cabinet, you had a folder with files in it, and you labeled that folder. That's really what this is. So it might be shop, it might be sales floor, it might be yard, it might be delivery, crews, job numbers. It doesn't matter. It's a filing cabinet that you label to keep things nice and organized. And then it automatically updates the date and the time. But what I want to do is I want to scroll up and I want to open up the admin panel and show you how to create this form. So the right-hand side are the people filling it out. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to open up that form. This is the form builder. So I love that on the app or the admin panel. As soon as you start typing in, it narrows it down. So here is what the form looks like at the admin panel. Again, any forms that you want to create. So you can see on the right-hand side, people filling it out. The left-hand side is people creating and adapting and adjusting. So obviously vehicle pre-use inspection, that's at the top here. And then these are called sections. They're headings. If I added a section, it'll add another black heading in there, and I can type in here and I can change it. I can do whatever I want. But you can see I did vehicle pre-use on the form. Vehicle type ID, sorry. I did a drop-down list. These are massively creative and critical in my opinion, because you can walk people through your operations and processes, or for this situation, it's asset management, and it's multi-tiered. What I mean is if they select service truck or any of your assets, you can have it drop down. Well, see, as you selected service truck, is it service truck 1, service truck 2, or license plate numbers? And you can just keep dropping down. Instead of them guessing, they go, oh, this is exactly what the unit I'm using. or any drop-down list for any form in any situation for that matter. So I won't go through all this. I think everybody gets the idea. You can put the hours, odometer, GPS, because I added it over here. So if I wanted to add something to this form, I would simply go add item. So let's just say, because I'm working with so many people and I know every state, it has different legislative requirements, there's some similarities, but they're all a little bit different because of the situations, the industries, the injuries, and all that kind of stuff. So this is where the customizability and flexibility comes in. If you say, I want to, let's just take a scenario where, we're using one of those preloaded forms that SiteDocs has. I got rid of a couple things, didn't make sense to me, but I want to add something new specific to our company. So because it's such a large group, I'm just going to add new item and hit create. Lack of imagination there, but now that is on your vehicle pre-use inspection because everyone has the same form, up to date, consistent. I've heard horror stories about paper where did you get that form? That's from like 1986. I'm serious. I've heard these stories. And then this little asterisk here, if you tap on that, that makes it a required field. So what that means is if somebody tries to go through your form and says, you know what, I think that's enough, I'll just sign on. If you have created required fields, it'll prompt them and say you cannot sign a form without filling the required fields. And they have to tap OK, and it'll highlight in red. That way you don't miss any items, especially for things like an incident form. Is this a lost time incident because you need to contact your insurance provider within 72 hours or, your rates are going to be affected. But anyway, I'll digress from that too. So I'll hit the trash, get rid of it. But what I want to get across is this. What do you want to add to your forms? Lots of items to pick from, like an inspection, like a pass fail, a checkbox, short answer or long answer, text boxes. Text info block, there's no actionable items that they have to select. What you're doing is you're just explaining something. Like, let's just say a company's just getting started in health and safety. And in here, you can explain when doing a hazard assessment or a JSA, severity is based on 1 to 5 on how bad you're going to get hurt. Number 1 is you're going to die. Number 5 is you might get a scratch, right? And then probability, A, B, C, D. But anyway, my point is you're explaining things. You can do links to the internet if you wanted to. Our members use that. So I went to the internet and I grabbed a link. I could drop it into this text info block. And then that way they have access to information, a lot of like for training and awareness and stuff like that. Here's a quick example. I just opened up an incident report. So if you dropped in a link, they tap on it, it would take them, some of our members will do a back end video from their website or stuff. That's me actually from our website explaining a better incident process. But whatever you're sending them to when they're done, they can go back to their form and keep filling it out. My favorite, the drop-down lists, many reasons for that, but having taught auditing and health and safety for so long, the more that we can create drop-down lists so people aren't guessing, we get the information that we need so we can make decisions like this, case classification, what is it? Job restriction or recordable, all that kind of stuff. Instead of them going, I'm not even too sure what this means. All right, we're just getting going and I'm just getting my training on it. You can do those drop down lists, circle the area of the body. This is an image. You can drop in even PDFs right into the form. I'm going to show you where you can drop any PDFs into your resources, but our members wanted something quick like this. Here's a guide to OSHA recordable incidents. What's recordable, what isn't? Right within your incident form, you can drop this in as you're doing it, because I've done lots of incident investigations. And when somebody's hurt, that's when you panic and you're going, I can't think, we got to get them, help them. But is this recordable, non-recordable? You can just drop it right into the form. So I covered a few things there, drop down list. The image is right here with the body that I just showed you, circle the area of the body. I drop a PDF, that was the OSHA. I'm just going to skip back up here. Yes, no, not applicable, pass, fail, totals. This means like, let's say you type in here, wheels, pretty bad example, but wheels, 12 pass, 6 fail. You can just say how many pass, how many fail. You can do numbers, date, time. This comes from your worker profiles automatically. Their names will populate. So who's part of the inspection team or who's the supervisor, all that kind of stuff. And then of course, GPS. Now it'll be GPS and timestamp dated when they sign off. But as I mentioned, many of our members across North America are in these vast areas. So they'll tap on that GPS when they're leaving the yard with the equipment that they sold. And then, once they get to the client and dropping it off, right? And they'll be tapping on that and taking pictures. Everything was in good order. Get the client to sign as well as them. All these kinds of options in there. Now, typically, this is where I ask if there's any questions, because I'm going through very quickly. I'm doing all the talking, obviously, but I don't see anything in the chat. So I'll just take that as we're doing okay. Like I said, there's training on this, and our support specialists are fantastic after your support. They're our employees. So they're extremely knowledgeable. They're always up on this stuff. Like, I don't even know all the new features coming out because we're so busy. I just let's talk to the support, because they're on top of everything just coming up. Well, right there, just came out yesterday, another feature. And here, I'll just show you this. View form on app or not. This is what I was talking about. If you take those preloaded forms that we have, if you select this, no one's going to see that on the app. And Kim and I were talking about that a little bit. Whether you have a safety program or you're looking to develop one and implement, I was mentioning it's bite-sized pieces. You can be creating forms, and some of our members that they'll start with one form. Say it's a pre-trip. They'll start with one form with 3 line items on it. And then as they grow and they develop throughout the year with their initiatives and their plans, they will start bringing more forms on. This month we'll start with inspections and some safety meetings. And then next month we'll get into incident forms and all that. And here's where you can allow duplicates or not. But that in a nutshell is forms, totally customizable, adjustable, and you can create what you want. It comes preloaded, like I said, if you want them. Now, the next side of a safety program, which is just as important as the forms, we call it resources. So I don't know how many of you have safety programs, or in the past you would have your manual in a binder and your SDS in a binder in the vehicles and in the offices and all that kind of stuff. Safe work practices, toolbox talk, it goes on and on. So what I'll show you is how I got this in here. So back to the admin panel, because the workers can't change those either. They can just review them, sign off. So I'm going to go to resources. Just when I'm screen sharing, it's a little bit slow. So just create a few folders. You can just hit add section, call it whatever you want. So again, which information do you need to be part of the right to know as the workers and readily available for them in case they need it. I know SDSs are massive with OSHA. Everybody shares that with me across the US and always let me know, hey, how we put our SDS in there? How do we confirm people have reviewed all that? I'll show you that if you want. But I want to show you this first of all. Just pretend this safety manual isn't in here and you have one to drop in or you're developing one. Either way, all you need to do is hit add files. Go grab as many PDFs as you want at the same time. My point is it's not one by one, and you hit add. As soon as you do that, your people in the field now under resources, if I tap on safety manual, you'll see whatever I drop in, automatically they have, and they can open it up, review, and sign it, which I'll show you. But something I do want to get to is this, that living document of program development. You're going to be changing policies. You're going to be doing things all the time. This little trash can does not mean remove from your computer and trash it. It means you're just removing that item from the mobile device. And anything that's ever been signed by everybody, you're going to know, and it'll be saved. But as you're adding to your program, like in the past, when I first started, we used to have to bring your binders in, rip these out. Here's the new ones we printed off, review it, sign it, put it in your binders, all that. Now you just hit the trash, grab the new one, drop it in, hit add. And then we also have a chat feature over here where you can contact anybody, the whole company, or just certain locations or people or groups of people, and say, hey, could you please review, sign off before Friday or the end of the day? Because you have that visibility of who has or hasn't completed anything. Well, let's try an SDS here. So in here, if you wanted to drop an SDS, what I always say is just go to your friend Google up here. You need to download that SDS anyway. Anybody that's familiar with control products and training, any controlled products in the workplace, you have to keep these SDSs for a minimum of 30 years, right? Especially with chronic illness and stuff. They have to go 25 years from now and go, oh, Lance, like my dad died from asbestosis. So at 25 years, like 5 years before he's retiring, couldn't breathe. And they had to go back 25 years and find that SDS for the asbestos that they were spraying on the rock in the mines and try to give them the right steroids and stuff like that. So you got to keep these for a minimum of 30 years, just a little education for you. But in SiteDocs, they'll be there forever. So you just go to your friend Google, you hit add. Now, like I said, you can let people know in the field or wherever they are, offices, doesn't matter. And now they can open up the SDS. And if you let them know, I want you to read this one, but by law, they're supposed to have access to all of them in case they need them. So let's just go to something, it doesn't matter, gasoline, viewer sign. Part of due diligence, kind of like the required fields. If I select sign and save without even opening it, you cannot sign, right, a resource before reading it. Another level of due diligence for the company, they had to open it up. So they would go through and they would, typically what most people will go to, especially for training, whoa, excuse me, is to section 4, which is first aid measures. And I just got asked again this morning, well, how if they're on their phone? Are they going to be able to read this? Absolutely. Most of our members just use their phones or smartphones because they already have it. And of course, some people use tablets or the web app, but they can zoom in on their phones and then read through it. So they have everything in there, what I'm supposed to do, not. Now, they hit the X to close it. Now they can sign off and hit sign and save. I pick my name, select, take my finger, sign off. If it's just me, I can hit save and close. If it's a group of people, hey, here, just like instead of passing a piece of paper around, select your name and sign off. And you can do as many as you want. And again, like I was saying, already did, Braden. Like I was saying, you're going to know who has or hasn't completed anything. And our CEO says it all the time. He's ingrained it in us as a company ourselves. You cannot manage what you can't measure. But now you can measure who has completed what, who hasn't, and you can really focus. I am a safety geek, as you can tell, is you can really focus your time, energy, money on creating a health and safety environment for everybody. Rather than printing and filing and counting and never really even looking at it because of the time. So I've just heard, I've seen it so many times. So that's resources. And then another big one is workers' training records. So SiteDocs tracks your training records for you automatically. So the people on the using the app, I set myself up. There's different permission levels, obviously, of let's just say I'm a supervisor in the field, so I'm responsible for the workers in the yard or the shop floor or wherever. And the administrator in SiteDocs gave me permission to, hey, I can search anybody's name because I'm responsible for them. And so I can pick their name and I can open it up and say, hey, I want to see your certifications. Oh, forklift, it's expired. And in here, you can have PDFs or pictures of their certificates, but everybody's aware. So this is in the on the mobile app. And if you didn't give me that permission, or if I didn't give myself that permission, I would only have the ability to see my own. You know, sometimes I don't want workers to see other workers. I just want supervisors to see. That's all customizable and flexible, like I said. Now, where this magic happens, at the admin panel level, I'm just going to go to the worker profiles. So inside the worker profiles, and our support specialists, depending if you have an API, like an HR software, can connect that and automatically upload the workers' names and training titles and all that. Or if you don't have that, our support specialists work with our members on uploading through an Excel spreadsheet. My point is, you don't have to do it one by one. Like we have some companies that are hundreds of locations, thousands of workers. They don't want to do this one by one, so they get it set up. But on a base level, if you want to add a worker, first name, last name, and you can see, and you can mark people active and inactive. So if you have a high turnaround of labor, if someone leaves, you can mark them as inactive, and it would go to this inactive file. But you want to keep those at a minimum of 5 years, unless otherwise indicated in legislation for documentation. But in SiteDocs, it's going to be there all the time anyway. And the other nice thing is If you have somebody come back, hey, I came back and I'm going to do some more work for you, say it's a seasonal or summer students or whatever. If you bring them back into your active file, it'll bring all of their training records as well. So I'm just going to open up mine, and there's a search bar everywhere, but I'm just going to scroll down. I'm going to open up Lance McMaster. So here I am. Hey, everybody, it adds 20 pounds. Anything I've signed, of course, I can search, but here's my certifications. So if I want to add something to Lance's training, and it'd be highlighted in red if it had expired in here and stuff like that, I can drop in a PDF or a picture, or you can allow people to take pictures of their own so you don't chase them. Again, just for sake of time in this demo, if I want to add training to Lance's profile, I go in here. This would be a list of your training. Again, customizable. Get rid of what doesn't work, grab what does. Let's just say every time I pick driver's license, because I'm a safety guy, I want to throw out driver's abstract is much better. But anyway, the reason there's an asterisk here is required for all the automation notification. So what training, you can do the issue of the ticket if you want, when they got it, if or when it expires, or refresher like control products, and hit save. So as soon as I do that, and I can drop in the certificate like I showed you, it goes to me as the worker. Now I can show anybody, and to my supervisors, so they have that in their hand, as well as over here to certification report. Now, I don't know if anybody out there that's watching has had to chase people for certifications or deal with this on Excel spreadsheets. If you have, you know the advantage, because it's going to automatically let you know anything that's expired, expiring in 3 months as a proactive window, what's active. You could search anything at any time. So if we did do let's just pick something like first aid, something basic. I'll go in here, first aid, apply the filter. Okay, I have one expiry on first aid, but which workers have first aid and which don't? Or I just want to see which workers do have first aid. And then I want to group it by our areas or divisions. I just want to make sure somebody has first aid. I know that those people that know their legislation, that's not a requirement based on how far away you are from a medical facility, but best practice, it would be nice to have somebody with first aid everywhere. My point, everyone, is I'm trying to show you the power of the automation and searching anything in seconds that you want to search. Now, of course, you can get into, I'll show you this. This is the virtual filing cabinets. So like I said, you can do divisions, areas, or manufacturing, or your industry where it might not be like job sites or anything. You just call it whatever you want, right? Divisions, area, shop floor, like I said, yard, delivery, crews, individuals, doesn't matter. Because everything that's being completed, here's that 3900 Wilson Place. For those of you that remember, that was where I signed off on the form and resource when I was showing you during this demo, which means you can pick and choose which people get to see which filing cabinet. You might not want Lance to see Kim's or vice versa, or some of the smaller companies. They just let everybody see everyone. Everyone bounces around. Again, customizable, flexible, up to you. But as I filled that out, it goes to this signed form. So instead of, like I said, gathering and scanning or filing and all printing and all that, it went right from where I signed off right into this virtual filing cabinet. So let's just say it was a hazard. These are all the hazard assessments or pre-trips or anything. You just open it up, the form is over here, which makes it nice and tidy. You can close it when it's done. I did want to show you this. Auto share. This is important in health and safety because SiteDocs, as you see, is all automated. You don't have to open this up all the time. It's doing it, for you. You go in when you want to see or make adjustments. But I find this super important to show for the health and safety aspect. Add a recipient. This is between companies that both have SiteDocs that work together, and it might be so you have a delivery company and then you have your own company. If you're both on SiteDocs, you can share with each other and you don't have to email it or print it or anything. It just does it automatically. But this is what I wanted to show you for this demo. Auto share to email. So you can put any email or multiple emails in here and then select the forms. So whether it's project management or if it's sales team or if it's health and safety. For health and safety, I would put whoever's email or emails in here, and I would pick incident form and more importantly, or just as importantly, near misses. And that's what I wanted to get to, is that proactive approach to health and safety with an electronic system, rather than looking at the OSHA, recordables and the how much it costs and all that. Best practice is to have information right in front of you, so you can actually jump in and go, well, let's have a look at what's going on and in here. And where were they when they tapped on that GPS, or when they signed off, right? GPS stamp is right there. And that due diligence goes a long way, because on paper, and I've been to court, again, I'm not a fearmonger guy, but they're going to ask, did you backdate that on paper? Someone's in trouble, and that's when the fingers start going. But in SiteDocs, timestamp, date, GPS, but we made it so easy for everybody to fill out that they're completing it. And then over here, I get asked, can you do PDFs? You can do bulk through Dropbox if you want, email, print. This would be your organization's logo and information here if you wanted it on the forms or not. But everything's right here at your fingertips. One other thing I wanted to show you is on reports. You always want to know, like I said, you can't manage what you can't measure. You can do charts and analytics right in here. So if you're looking to achieve goals like any business, or you're looking to scale, or you're growing, or whatever's happening, you can pick and choose through your forms, resources, locations, workers, like make your selections. And then you can generate a PDF or a JPEG. So you say, okay, senior management wants to know, or you're doing our health and safety, where we're at with everything. So actually I'll do May. So May 1st, they want me to every month to do this. Instead of counting, like I said, to hit the goals, we should have this many inspections, we should have this many pre-trips, we should have this many safety meetings. You just apply the filter, because it's all automated, and you can generate a PDF or a JPEG right from here. And it's going to show you how many, from everything you selected, how many were done. 5 this day, right? 10 this day. I always want to let people know, you're going to know every day if it's happening or not. This is just to generate a report whenever you want. It's going to show, who's been signing off, or just as important, who hasn't been. And I remember I used to haul people in when I was doing health and safety for companies, and I'd be like, that was when I was on paper, and I'd be, okay, we need to do a meeting. We're not getting enough hazard assessments done. I know that through what I've counted on paper, but I didn't know who were doing it and who wasn't. And that, if anybody's been in that situation, all I did was I upset the people that I hauled in that were doing it. Well, why am I doing it then? I've been doing it like I'm supposed to, and you haul me in and take me off. This way we have laser focus on where we want to identify our needs and trends. It's called the health and safety. Then locations, who's doing what, and then how many were done. So we should have how many toolbox talks, or tailgate meeting, or tailboard, or safety meeting, whatever you're talking about. It's informational processes, right? And sharing, and you have it in here. Now, this comes in every standard account, but the ultimate that I would like to see everybody get to eventually is this over here. And what I did, this is called SiteDocs Analytics. So from every line item of every form, you can create and customize reports. So I pulled up this one, a vehicle deficiency report. Hopefully that's an okay one to use, but that comes from, remember when I filled it out, all the check marks and all that, right from the workers, filling it out. You can generate and customize reports, areas, a whole bunch of pie charts. Like, this is all customizable. This is just a quick view for you, and it's all pivotal, which means if I go, well, I just want to see our service trucks and what's going on, that's 8% of our deficiencies. No, there's 4 visuals, and I can keep tapping and keep going. Well, what was it? It was a fire extinguisher, it was fluid leaks, and you can get into, I can go down here and I can go right to who was it. I can view the form right here if I want to open it up. Instead of, I don't have to go back to the admin panel. I can just go in here and have a look. I mean, the reason I just wanted to kind of close up here before questions with this is because I find this is the ultimate, where you can actually get down and look at the information within your safety program, what's being completed, and make those changes and those adjustments as you go. And like I said, I'm not a fear monger. I'm actually going to get our sales team and myself. You see all these different forms we have in here, incident report. But like I said, the incident report, what I said at the very beginning is a lot of people will focus, how many incidents did we have last year? So what I'm going to get our sales team and myself to do is start filling out near miss forms. Hey, this almost happened. Share it with the rest of the team. Hey, after a long weekend, people, all that kind of stuff. And then hopefully you're going to be reducing, and I've seen it many times, your incidents, and you have trends and analysis. This is really important when you know the times that incidents are happening. It was funny. Well, not funny, but for those of you, I can say their names, there's privacy. I can't say our members' names, but they promote us all the time. They're on our website. Clayton Homes, if you ever heard of them. They saw that a majority of their incidents were happening the last Friday of every month at 3 o'clock, I think it was when, but that was because that's when all their safety people went to the office for their meetings. What imagine that, right? But anyway, I just wanted to show you this so you can really mine down into your information and see what's going on. We're at 12, or my time is 2:46. We want to leave room for questions. Kim, what are you thinking on questions or?
So just a reminder that there's a little Q&A box on the bottom that you can click on to submit a question. A question I had for you, Lance, was, so you kind of said at the beginning, you know, you don't have to do everything all at once. You can add things slowly, start with one. And I'm sure this varies by industry, but so for, you know, farm equipment dealers, what's the, you know, 1, 2, or 3 forms or uses of the product that you would suggest they start with? You know, doing everything all at once could be overwhelming, obviously.
Yeah. So how I'm going to answer that is you would start with your inspections, whether it's a vehicle or, you know, if you're delivering equipment. I've done that a lot with dealerships and stuff where they want to make sure the vehicles they're using for delivery, right, are inspected, and pictures are taken on that. They're post trip in case they get pulled over for DOT or, you know, whatever transportation in the different states. So I would start with those. And what I always recommend is actually starting with a form, and it's called a JHA, or critical analysis. So what you do is you can actually create a form and figure out, well, what is the most dangerous things? And this is what legislation really is asking people to do, right? So which forms should you do? Well, what is the most dangerous aspects of your business? Is it loading the equipment? Is it delivering the equipment? And sorry for my ignorance, are they actually manufacturing it?
No, they're the dealers who are selling the
okay. Yeah. So when they're collecting, when they're organizing it within their dealership, stuff like that. But I think the delivery, the post trips would be super important. A lot of places that it's an easier place to start as well, to get your fingers in there in the pie, so to speak, is a lot of people forget about the office workers, right? I get asked that all the time. Do we have to include our office workers? Absolutely, you do, right? Whether it's for financial gain or not, those people need to be involved. So I would also start with like key elements, not just to fill it out, but like a monthly inspection at the dealership itself. And if there was a fire, where's the muster point? Who's counting heads, right? How many clients do you have in the building? Who's tracking that kind of stuff? So I would start with those forms, but what I would do is do that analysis with the team, and I would do it in SiteDocs, and I would just gather that information. Because if you are at a starting point, you know, I'm not trying to alleviate or get away from the question, but I really want to give you the best answer, which is, what is the most dangerous things that you're doing? Which things do you know come back to bite you? Like, well, I didn't do that. It must have been somebody else. No, it wasn't me. All those conversations we have. When you have timestamp date GPS, you can eliminate those or reduce them. So I don't know, did that answer it, Kim? I mean, I only gave you a couple, like the delivery, right?
Yeah.
The loading.
I think that helps.
Okay, the drop off. I would do those for sure.
And then when you were showing us how when there's, an updated form for people to read and sign that they did it, and that you can see who has and has not, is there like, can the supervisor or whoever be like, without actively searching to see who did it, like alerted that these people either have signed it or these people have not?
You're
Does
ahead
that
of the
make sense?
game. Yeah, you're ahead of the game. I'm gonna open up this. This is called upcoming features. Like I mentioned, it's we're always getting great ideas, right? We accumulate that from so many of the masses, and we get to take all that information, go, hey, this would help everybody. So upcoming features, like you said, you want the automation. In here,
Mhm.
obviously, when you can have a look, did they do it or not, and generate reports. I'm gonna do over here, scroll down, safety monitoring, right? Few clicks, who's doing it, and over here, required forms. If required forms that are pending, completed, or overdue. Oh, I have a notification. We need additional signatures or a review on that kind of stuff, right? And then safety, I always say, like we were joking yesterday or the day before, I always say, I'm Canadian, processes, it's processing. But automatically or manually trigger a series of required forms. Have they done it or not? Or I need this done at a certain time, right? To ensure, and if they haven't done it, it's going to trigger, it's going to show. So you can set up that. That was the next logical step that our members asked for, because they could do it manually. And now they're going, hey, we're saving time. We want automation with this. And it's almost like project management or business management cases, is we want to start setting this in place, and it'll notify the workers. And if they've done it or not, then we're notified and all that. Yeah.
So this will send them a reminder like, hey, you didn't do this yet, don't forget to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I can send you this if you want. These are the upcoming features. But to start, like you said, it's the bite-sized pieces, right? So if I went into my form builder, and again, I mean this with so much respect, because I never want to mislead anybody or make it sound like, well, this is what you want to do and this is why. You always want to base it off of your needs. You always want to do that. Like if I asked everybody in the group here, what is the most dangerous work areas, or someone can get a finger pinched off, or you know what I mean? All
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. What would that be for your unique dealerships? And I've done everything from, oh, how about ice where I'm from? Ice and snow in front of the doors, right? Trip hazard, the mat getting all, or is it heat, or is it so? But you would create and customize, and like you said, and like what we both said, I can make one form visible to them or 1,000 visible to them. It's up to you. But what I always like to do is start a process with my resources. Like doing program development in the past before SiteDocs, what I would do is I would get feedback from everybody going, hey, this is what we need to meet by law. Now let's figure out the most dangerous, how often we're doing it, things like that. And then let's build a simple flow chart. People don't want to read 1,000 pages, right? Let's get to the point here. You want to fall asleep? Read a safety manual. We go in there when we need it, and we go, okay, let's make sure everybody's trained. But if you set up a nice flow chart, this is what we're going to do month one. And then we're going to build off of month one, see how we're doing, any questions. Then month two, we're going to add another form. And then month three, we're going to add another information on here. Let's talk about incident investigation, supervisors, responsibilities, employers, all that kind of stuff. But then as you go, you can track all those items to hit your goals as you're going. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does.
Yeah, because people like to just open up like, here, let's see, what do we need to do this month? But then they can see the next 6 months as well. Well, that's not for 4 months. We're not doing incident investigation until then. Let's focus on just getting our pre-trips down and adjust them and adapt them to specifically our needs. Because are they using, that gets into well, that's a good thing too, is the asset management. Are they using cranes? Are they using mobile cranes? They're using overhead cranes, which have to be inspected once a year. Are they, you know what I mean? What kind of vehicles? That's so specific to every dealership and every area. That's where the customizability comes in. You adapt it and you adjust it. It's not just out of the box. You have to use it how it is. You adapt it and you adjust it to meet those needs.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
that is all the questions that we've had. So I think if no one else has any more questions, we can wrap things up. Just a reminder that the webinar was recorded in case anyone wants to go back and rewatch it or share it with anyone else at the dealership. Keep an eye on the Farm Equipment newsletter for when that is available. And then on behalf of Lance, Wita, and SiteDocs teams and the Farm Equipment staff, thanks for joining us for today's webinar. When you leave, you'll be directed to a short survey. Let us know what you thought of the event and if there's any topics you'd like us to cover in the future. Thanks again, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks for having me.